We have Mike Warrington on the TV. We'll call to order and we'll start. Roll call to my left.
Homer, City Council Member.
Dr. Joseph Ford, City Council Member.
Ronnie Price, Mayor.
Troy Tabor, City Council Member.
Tim Berry, City Council Member.
Mike Warrington, City Council Member.
Bud Buchanan, Police Chief.
Donna Davis, Chief Financial Officer.
Chad Russell, Fire Chief.
Krista Turner in for the city attorney.
Jessica Williams with the City Attorney.
Les Mangus, Director of Community Development.
Susan Renner, City Clerk.
Lance Onsta, Assistant City Administrator.
And I want to back up just a second. This is Tuesday, October 11th, 2022 at about 7:02. Tonight, Randy Sexton of Epic Church is going to lead us in prayer. How you doing, sir?
Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for your goodness and grace that you give us freely. Thank you for your provision. Thank you, Lord, for family and friends. Please bless this meeting. Bless all who have responsibility and authority, that they would be blessed with your guidance and wisdom as they carry out the affairs of this city and this meeting. Pray that you'd be with our police and firefighters, keep them safe. Pray that you'd grant the city your protection and goodness. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. This time we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this time I'm going to open the floor for a public forum. If you had something you'd like to speak to us about, state your name, your address, keep her short. No takers. All right, public forum's closed. Acceptance of agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0.
Bless you.
At this time, we're going to do a proclamation present to Tom Taylor and the Library Board, Friends of the Library Week. And we're going to.
I'll go ahead and read it. It's rather long and awesome for you guys. Here we go. City of Andover, Butler County, Kansas, proclamation. Whereas Friends of the Andover Public Library raise money that enables our library to move from good to great, providing the resources for additional programming, much needed equipment, support for children's summer reading, and special events throughout the year. Whereas the work of the Friends highlight on an ongoing basis the fact that our library is the cornerstone of the community, providing opportunities for all to engage in the joy of lifelong learning and connect with the thoughts and ideas of others from ages past to present. Whereas the Friends understand the critical importance of well-funded libraries and advocate to ensure that our library gets the resources it needs to provide a wide variety of services to all ages, including access to print and electronic materials, along with expert assistance in research, reader's advisory, and children's services. Whereas the Friends' gift of their time and commitment to the library sets an example for all and how volunteerism leads to positive civic engagement and the betterment of our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Mayor Ronnie Price, with the City Council assembled in regular session on the 11th day of October 2022, proclaim October 6th to the 22nd, 2022, as Friends of Libraries Week in Andover, Kansas, and urge everyone to join the Friends of the Library and thank them for all that they do to make our library and community so much better.
And at this time, thank you, sir. Sure. At this time, Lena Schiller, is that right? Is going to come talk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. It's a great honor to be here before you. When I started this job almost 9 years ago, Friends had around 60 members. It's doubled since then, and it's through fantastic efforts of some of the board members and friends that you see here. with us. They do a lot for the library. We couldn't do all that we do without them. And I'd like to introduce Linda Schiller. She's the Vice President of the Friends of the Library Board, and she's a past member of the Library Board. So Linda's going to tell you a little bit about what all the Friends do for our community.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Council. We very much appreciate the proclamation and very much appreciate all your support. And I know you wanted to keep this a fairly short meeting, so I have about an hour and a half presentation here.
Lovely.
But for any, if y'all sign up to be a member of the Friends of the Library, then I can cut it short to about 3 minutes.
Smart.
And I just have and follow Mayor Price's example because he's definitely a supporter. Just tell you a little bit about us. Do you know who we are? Do you know what we do? Do you know what contributions we make? So we're a 501c3 organization in support of the library. There's about 120 members now, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. And as you can see from the colorful shirts we have here, tonight we have Rowena, who is responsible for getting us volunteers. We have Nancy, who is our secretary. We have Caroline. Everybody knows Caroline. You know what she does.
Nice.
We have Melissa, who thankfully knows something about Facebook and keeps us on track with the newsletter. And we have Sharon. Everybody knows Sharon is too. So, and we have Caroline, and everybody knows who Caroline is too. So we're very fortunate we have such a great group. And Sue Windsor was unfortunately couldn't be here because she's off in Colorado, but she's the president and she's been the one who's really made a big difference in the last couple of years. So we're thankful for her. Our major fundraiser, as you already know, is our book sale. And last year we collected $7,961.88, which all goes to the library. And most of that goes to fund the summer reading program, which you're aware of, which we had over 1,000 participants last year. But we're also committed to making sure that this is a community that recognizes that our library is a welcoming, warm place. We want people to come there and feel comfortable there. And so we have a lot of adult programs as well as children's programs. And I'll show you some of the things that we're doing that we haven't been able to do in the past. But we've got yoga. Did you know we had yoga at the library? We have game nights. We have bunco. So that is a big draw. People love bunco. We're going to start playing mahjong on a regular basis. We've got some technology training we've been doing. So there's a lot of things going on at the library. And I can't disclose much, but Sue said that I could give to, and it's going to be something that the community is going to definitely embrace. And it's going to be something for kids from 9 to 99. And stay tuned. So thank you so much.
Just had to leave us hanging.
Oh, and we do passports.
Yes.
Passports, and it works very smoothly, saves you a lot of steps. I like to call it idiot-proof.
Running.
Mayor proof.
Thank you.
Just let you take a picture.
What?
Oh,
Here, take this.
oh, okay.
And I'll-
Do they need that copy?
No, that's ours.
All right.
Thank
Thank
y'all. I appreciate y'all. All right. Onward and upward. All right, where are we at? Consent, excuse me, consent agenda. Thank you all for being here, by the way. I appreciate what you do.
Hi, Caroline. Oh, okay.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve a consent agenda items 8.1 through 8.4 as presented.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Unsafe structure hearing. All three properties have been cleared. Insurance funds returned.
Nice.
Do we need to just roll on? All right. 10, zoning amendments. Les Mangus is going to talk to us about special use marketplace car wash, Z-SU22-0002. 0002, right? Okay. And I need to read this little checklist before we start. So this application is requesting to allow a car wash in a B3 retail and service business district on a property generally located at the northeast corner of East Cloud Avenue and South Plaza Street, Andover, Kansas. Excuse me. Before we proceed with the hearing, I'll ask council if any of them intend to disqualify themselves from participating in the case because they have conflict of interest.
No.
No.
I will now ex parte communication. I will now ask the council if any of them have received any ex parte verbal or written communication prior to this agenda item, which they would like to share.
Yes, sir.
No.
No.
Has the city clerk received any protest petitions on the case?
No protest petitions were filed in the office of the city clerk within the required 15 days following the planning commission public hearing on August the 16th, 2022.
I now ask the city council if excuse me, and I now ask the city, good goodness. I now ask the council members if they have all received copies of the draft minutes of the planning commission for September 20th, 2022, which summarizes the hearing on this case.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I now call on the city zoning administrator, Leslie Mangus, to provide us with a report on this case.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is another pretty simple special use that adds just the one use for a car wash in the B3 neighborhood business service business district in the marketplace planned unit development. This is in an area that is within the lifestyle corridor for US 54 and is surrounded by a mix of uses: restaurants, retail, automotive, grocery stores. So it's in an area where there are a lot of different uses, even though the comprehensive plan points us towards that lifestyle corridor that is more meant for personal type services. Your planning commission considered this at their public hearing and recommended unanimously that you adopt this amendment. And it was conditioned upon a satisfactory traffic study be submitted before a site plan was approved and the building permit issued. The applicant's engineer is working on that traffic report. I've talked to him as recently as this afternoon, and they expect to have a site plan and the traffic report within the next few weeks.
All right. Does the applicant wish to present any new information? I skipped one, I'm sorry. Have any written communications been received, Susan?
No, the office of the city clerk has not received.
All right. And apparently the applicant doesn't wish to present any new information. Would public comments, we would like to welcome anyone interested in this agenda item to come to the podium and give your name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. The governing body has been provided the draft minutes of the video of the public hearing has been made available. So please limit your comments to information not previously shared at a public hearing held on September 20th, 2022. Does anyone from the public have any new information? All right. Does the applicant have any further response to public comments? There was none, so no. Assuming the council has received all the information they need on this case, you have received an outline of the choices provided under the state statutes for council action KSA 12-757C. Council, how do you wish to act?
Mr. Mayor, I do have a question if
Yes, sir.
possible. Hey, Les, what are they looking for in the traffic study? They're like whether or not cloud can handle traffic, or is there something in particular?
It's actually more about access management.
Okay. So is there a number that, I mean, is there a certain number they're looking for to make sure that,
Well,
they can handle it, or?
as you know, car washes are very high turnover businesses. And at peak times, they can stack up a long queue of cars waiting to get in the car wash. What we're looking for is a report that defines what their queuing length is, how much space is necessary on the site in order to keep that queue on the site
And not in the street?
so that it doesn't tail out into the adjacent streets. We're particularly concerned with Plaza Street because in the next few years, it will be connected to a frontage road. And we certainly don't want that one-way southbound traffic on Plaza Street to wrap around all the way into that frontage.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Les.
Good question.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
So then the traffic study is not done, correct?
Correct.
So you're wanting our approval, even though the traffic study is not done, that was contingent from the planning and zoning?
The motion from the planning commission was that just a traffic study be produced to the satisfaction of the staff. It did not condition this ordinance on that. So we'll be looking for the traffic report before we issue a building permit.
Okay, thank you.
Plus, it has to go through site plan, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir.
I move to adopt the ordinance approving the recommendation of Planning Commission for Special Use Case ZSU 22-0002, allowing a car wash in the B3 Retail and Service Business District on the property generally located at northwest corner of East Cloud Avenue and South Plaza Street, Andover, Kansas.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Assuming the council, persons aggrieved by the final decision of the council on this matter have 30 days after today's action within which to appeal to district court. All right. 11, Heritage Mixed Use First Edition Bid Award, Heritage Mixed Use First Edition Part B Paving Drainage, and Heritage Mixed Use Second Edition Water Distribution System bids. And Les is going to talk to us about this.
A few weeks ago, we opened bids on a package of work in the Heritage Mixed Use Edition. It had quite a variety of components to the work. There was paving work, drainage work, water lines, and a lot of hardscape and landscaping items, decorative street lights, landscape plantings, brick paver sidewalks, and so forth. We were a little surprised when we opened those bids that they were substantially above the budget and substantially above what we thought was market price for that type of work. So we went out to those contractors that bid on it and just asked that question, what happened here? What drove the cost up of this work? What we learned from them was it was the mixture of work, that the heavy paving contractor isn't typically in the business of installing decorative streetlights and brick pavers and planting trees. So with that in mind, we met with the developer and staff, and of course, we're here to reject those bids because they were over their budget, which would have, if we were to carry this effect through the entire Heritage project, would have a substantial effect. So we've put together a program where we think we can break that work apart into its more specialized fields and get much better bids. So we're asking tonight that you reject those bids. We'll be back to you with a paving and drainage and water line, more typical heavy civil work package bid. And we'll be looking to negotiate this work for the landscaping, the brick pavers, the street furniture, the street lights, those things that are more specialty because of the nature of the beast. Long lead times, specialty crews, conflicts between different types of work. We think that's the best way we know to get that price down to where it's back within its budget.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
may I ask that? Les, how far back is this going to push us then with the project? Will it hurt the project overall? Will it be an additional couple of months? I mean, what are you thinking?
We're hoping to have that back to you within a month.
Okay.
If we can get modifications to the plans, and we hope to roll Founders Parkway into that paving bid package. And that way we would bid all of the street work in the first edition in one package.
Does
Have
that
one
save-
contractor.
Does that save money doing that in itself anyway?
It builds the size of that so you get some economy of scale.
Nice.
And then look to break up the rest of that work in the future, more in its season and with those specialized contractors rather than lumping it all into one contract.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor? That was
I have another comment and
Now you done it.
sorry, it's new chair. But for clarity purposes, I want to make sure, because Les did a good job of explaining the complexity of this project. But another complicating factor is, again, there's a lot of activity that's happening on that site, as you guys know. So you see the mixed-use building, the parking garage that's under construction now with Key Construction. Part of that is the what's the word I'm looking for? The collaboration or coordination that's required between multiple sets of contractors. So I want to make sure that we're being clear for both staff, and you guys can respond for clarity for both staff and for the development team, is what we plan to traditionally use traditional procurement methods for the more traditional street projects. The specialty areas, we would like to negotiate that directly with a contractor, specifically Key Construction, to avoid the expense that comes along with that added coordination. Now, in kind of our strategy, like building this strategy to try to keep everything in budget, we have informed the development team that staff's preference is that we can negotiate if the council is agreeable. We would like to see the subcontractor bids as part of that process. Very similar to what is happening with Crossland Construction with the CMAR process, just not as formalized in that fashion. So again, we're trying to be innovative, creative, and be strategic in order to keep these projects on budget, but still maintain the quality of that development. We feel like that's our best route forward. So in addition to seeing items to award bids for the traditional items, you will also see a negotiated contract at a future agenda or a future meeting as well. I want to make sure we're clear. So if you have any concerns with this, now's the time. I mean, obviously you'll have to approve of it in the future, but on the front end for staff and the development team, it would be helpful.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
So with that said, Lance, is there going to be it's not going to be an official CMAR, but is there going to be a CMAR fee from Key Construction?
So the way that with it being open book like this, we'll see the subcontractor bids that they're going to utilize, and then we'll be able to see that general contractor markup, if you will.
So the
But
answer
any
would be
like
yes.
Yeah, but
Okay.
not in a formalized way like you see with the Crossland.
It's not
Renault
1.8
Crossland.
or 1 or anything like that. It's just
Right, no set
whatever.
percentage other than, we'll obviously calculate that, and review that, and that'll be part of that contract.
Thanks.
So we'll get more pardon my, I'm a little bit slow out the gate. So we'll get professionals doing professional work instead of all one entity doing stuff that they're not necessarily the best at, right? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, because that's what, again, if I'm not an expert in a particular trade, for example, like, yeah, I'll manage it for you at a fee, right? Like,
Right.
I'll accept some risk and charge you commiserately. So we're just trying to kind of break this down a little bit more and get people doing the things that they're good at.
Anyone else?
Yeah. That's right. So how much do we see this maybe potentially saving? From the $2,305,000 roughly dollars that it came in, breaking it up this way, how much do we see coming to the $2 million mark as far as the budget or under?
We hope to get it at or below the budget for the work. It's a crazy market out there. For instance, one of the factors we heard from the contractor was the specialty paver bricks that were spec'd out for the sidewalks weren't available. They couldn't get a guarantee when the product would be delivered, so the contractor had to mark some risk into his price that he didn't know when he was going to receive the materials to do the work. When we separate that out into its own package, that takes away a lot of that risk. Because when that individual contractor for that trade makes his bid, we're going to have to work with him to make sure that the materials are available and they're available at a price that we can afford.
And if we decide to not reject this bid, I don't know why my microphone's not working. If we decide not to reject this bid, then we're saying we're going to lock this in at the $2,305,000 mark.
Correct.
Mr. Mayor.
So maybe I didn't put enough emphasis on the fact that this $300,000 overage is not optimal. But if you project that onto the remainder of the work that's out there, that overage is substantial, in the millions. Because the unit costs, if you extend those out to 2 or 3 times more work, multiply.
Well, and I guess going off of maybe a workshop or a couple weeks ago when we talked about construction costs being up 30%. I mean, this is definitely, I can't do the math in my head right now, but that's definitely.
So,
15%.
so staff's stance is that by rejecting all the bids, we'll get a better product at a cheaper cost, or at least a better product at the same cost, correct?
Correct. It's our opinion that we'll get the product we want
Okay.
at a price that's more in line with its budget.
And the developers agree with that as well.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to reject all bids for the Heritage Mixed Use First Edition, Part B paving, drainage, and Heritage Mixed Use Second Water Distribution System Project.
Second. I do have one question.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Mayor. So I guess, Les, why did we do it all at the same time then? I mean, now that we're looking back, would you do that again moving forward? Was this to save time?
Time was one of the components. Coordination was another. We thought it would be
Get everybody.
easier to have one contractor coordinate all of that work. But what we heard back from the industry was it's just the opposite.
Okay.
That's not the kind of work they do. So they wouldn't be the best at coordinating.
So you not having a plumber hire an electrician, you just.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
Anyone else? Mike?
No, I'm good. I understand.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. 12, 159th Street Project, Main Traffic Way designation ordinance. Lance Onstott's going to speak to us.
Mr. Mayor, Council, if you guys think back to the September 27th meeting just a few weeks ago, you'll remember your Director of Community Development coming to you regarding this project. So again, this project is the improvement of 159th Street between US 54 400 and Central Avenue. At that September 27th meeting, we introduced the Kansas Department of Transportation's increased estimate for that work compared to what the estimate that we originally developed in 2019. That project bids next week, correct, Les? So that project bids next week. If that overage, let's say, for this project is realized when those bids are opened, the city, those bids will obviously come to you all for awarding, so that your ultimate decision is at that point. If that overage is realized in those bids, it's your staff's finding or conclusion that some sort of debt financing will be required in order to have that project actually constructed. So by Kansas statute, street projects, if you wish, or if a city desires to use debt financing to construct a street project, it must be designated as a main traffic way. So the ordinance for your consideration tonight is largely a procedural action. It's not obligating the city to do anything in particular. It just allows the flexibility for the city to use debt financing if we need to. So the ordinance itself, not only, I mean, we've done this on, I think, 159th from Central to 13th. We've done it for portions of Yorktown Parkway, any street that we've issued debt financing. This is something that we have to do on each one of them. So again, it doesn't obligate you to issue debt, but it allows you the flexibility to do so if we need to.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
So on those ones you mentioned, 13th to 13th Street on 159th and or Central to 13th, and then Yorktown, what kind of debt financing did we do, and did we use that full amount? Is that a Donna question possibly?
We did borrow money for the Central to 13, not PTA Bridge, but our portion of it. We did use debt financing. I couldn't tell you exactly how much we used, but we did go to permanent bond. And then Yorktown, both first and second phase, both have permanent bonds on them as well.
And that's what, and it's a good point you bring up for this particular project. So we had, I think it was, I can't remember the number off the top of my head, less 1.2-ish approximately in the budget for 2022. I think right now, if KDOT's estimate is actually realized, we'd be looking at roughly approximately a $2 million overage. So we would utilize debt financing for only the portion that we don't have on hand or ready to expend or have authority to expend in 2022.
But we don't have a number on that, or maybe even what it is other than this $2,045,000.
That's what this ordinance authorizes, up to that amount. So we'll have to see what those bids come in at to see exactly what that number is that we would need to utilize debt to fund, but
and why don't
hopefully
we,
none.
Why don't we wait till the bids come in to get that exact number versus this kind of open-ended number?
So it's just it's largely procedural, just so when you guys have that bid award come to you, that we don't have to delay that. So we'll get this done because it's largely, I mean, it doesn't obligate you to do anything, so there's no harm in doing it, and it allows to keep that project on track. So I'm assuming, Les, do you know when we'll bring those bids to the governing body? I think they open on the 19th.
They open on the 19th, so it'll be at your next meeting. And KDOT will be looking for your concurrence with those bids, which gives them the authority to award the project and proceed on with the contract.
And that's why we would like this ordinance to precede that consideration by meeting, just in case.
Perfect. Thanks, Les.
So it, again, I'm a little slow out the gate, so it makes the process more expeditious on city staff's part if they don't have to wait another month for us to make a decision?
Correct. Okay. That way, when you guys have that bid award consideration at your next meeting in October, you have your full suite of options available to you at that time.
And just so you know, this does not affect mill levy. This will come out of the 1 cent sales tax, any debt service on this.
Off the street, 1 cent. Okay. Thank you, Donna.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt an ordinance designating 159th Street East as a main traffic way or traffic connection within the corporate limits of the city of Andover and authorize the city to issue general obligation bonds in an approximate principal amount of $2,045,000 to pay a portion of the cost of the main traffic way improvements as necessary.
Second. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. City Hall purchase, office furniture, new space, 13-1. And Lance again will speak to us on this.
The construction of additional office space on the second floor of City Hall is complete. If you guys haven't came by to look at it, please do so. But they're empty right now. So for your consideration tonight is as a staff request for authorization to purchase office furniture, specifically for the shared workspace. So if you'll remember, there's out of that project created a shared workspace and then 2 private offices. So the only thing for your consideration tonight is the furniture for the shared workspace, which includes 4 workstations. So $25,000 is included in the 2023 adopted budget. So staff is asking for authorization to make that purchase now. What we'll do is we'll utilize reserve funds to make the purchase in 2022. And when we get within the 2023 fiscal or budget year, we'll reimburse those reserves. We've got some employees that are in need of office space now. So hence the reason why we fast tracked that construction and then also why we're asking for authorization to furnish.
Do we already, sorry, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead, sir.
do we already have like the computers and all the stuff that goes in with the office stock and that kind of stuff?
Yes, your information technology department will be installing those as soon as the furniture gets in, but we do have those on hand.
And why couldn't you have already okayed this purchase? I thought we redid the limits, right?
We did. So there's a couple factors into that procurement policy, which means why we're here tonight, right? So anything over $10,000 does require council approval. So staff only has authorization up to 10,000.
Oh, I
So
thought
we're-
it was 15. My bad.
Yeah, we're above that, and it's on the regular agenda because it's not technically budgeted because we're in 2022. So if we fast forwarded a year and we're doing this, it would have been on your consent agenda.
Thanks.
Who's going to the offices, Lance?
So one of the offices will be vacant for now. So again, this is an opportunity or some space where the governing body could utilize office space, a private office space at City Hall. I just want to make sure you're not going to kick me out of my office. So maybe I'll use one of these offices when you do that. So that'll be one. So it'll remain vacant. One of them, our public information officer, who currently is, you guys know where our office is at the kind of the middle of the City Hall, will move over there. So that office will be vacant. And then the shared workspace will be occupied by the city's 2 accounting clerks, because it's direct proximity to our director of finance and chief financial officer, and then our management intern, and then there'll be an open workstation there as well. So again, a lot of moving parts, but you'll remember in 23, there also are a number of, I think, 2 new City Hall employees. And then, so there's some movement happening, but we'll have, once it's all done, we'll have 1 workstation that's open and 1 private office that's open.
Okay. Because I just know it's tight downstairs, so I was just kind of curious if anybody from downstairs is coming up.
Right.
Yeah, no, so one of your accounting clerks that's currently at a
Right.
window will be coming up. That space will be occupied by one of your new positions in 2023.
We're an office short as well because of the lodge, obviously. So Daniel and before Katie left us, they're both sharing this room just inside the door.
Yeah.
So I think Daniel's got it made, but it is what it is, but.
Well, hopefully at your next council meeting, we'll be able to rectify the Parks and Recreation office. So I know your Director of Public Works and Utilities has been working very hard to get a proposal in front of you to fix that office space situation.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to authorize the purchase of the City Hall office furnishings from Galaxy Business Equipment Incorporated in the not to exceed amount of $11,962.
Second.
Any further discussion?
One more question, Mr. Mayor. Hey, Lance, why did we choose Galaxy? I mean, seems to be 1,000 office furniture companies out there.
So Galaxy is who we've used for to furnish all of City Hall. So the reason why we engaged them originally is because a lot of our original furniture was sourced by them, obviously. We looked into a number of different options over the past 2 months about reusing furniture here, or repurposing furniture here, moving things left
These
and
are
right.
new spaces. We need new furniture, but I mean, is it, we just chose Galaxy because that's who we've used?
Because of our existing relationship and efficiencies.
Okay.
And timing.
Anyone else?
I mean, Tim, I recently bought an office chair and I spent,
Oh, yeah, they're expensive.
months looking at it and testing them out and all kinds of stuff, and finally settled on something that was similar price to this. I was amazed by how much
They're expensive.
an office chair costs. These ones we're sitting in,
Yeah,
probably,
I wouldn't
right?
even want to guess.
Not even good ones are expensive, so. All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Police Department software purchase, Data Works Plus Live Scan Refresh. Becky Day is going to talk to us about this. How are you, Miss Day? All right.
In front of you, you have a proposal to purchase equipment to refresh our aging live scan technology that we have at the police department. The live scan is what we use to fingerprint applicants, employees, anyone that we need to do a full FBI and KBI background check on to have access to our building, as well as anybody that we arrest, including juveniles. This purchase was originally made in 2014, and over time, the live scan, the top of it, just wears, and now it's to the point that it's no longer supported by the company. This was budgeted in the 2022 budget for the police department, the refresh was, and the cost of the equipment at $13,880 will come out of the police department's contractual funds, and an annual support and maintenance fee would begin in November of 23, also out of the police department contractual funds.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
what's our current monthly maintenance on that? Do you know?
So we have it's an annual maintenance.
Okay.
And the last annual maintenance was closer to 3,200 because of the older equipment. Buying the refresh brings down our maintenance and warranty cost.
And are these brand new or is it refurbished or?
These will be brand new. We did replace the old laptop with a monitor and a desktop or a PC in 2020 due to the laptop failing. So this is just the rest of the equipment that needs to be replaced.
And then do we offer fingerprinting to residents of
If you
Andover?
live or work in the city of Andover, we do fingerprinting for free at the police department.
Do we charge if people are outside of the?
Currently, we do not have an ordinance that we fingerprint or charge if you live or work outside of the city of Andover. I know that is something that we are going to take a look at now that we have a public or a community service officer who's going to start handling all the fingerprint services to keep the officers on the street.
I did recently just in my daily life and it was for a CAPS student, needed to get fingerprinted. We had to use the Wichita Police Department, but the wait was 3 weeks and they were on vacation. So there's the catch, chief. He's on the Wichita side of the Andover School District. So at the CAPS building, yes. but it's not a business or a resident.
School's considered a work, so students are.
Yeah, it sounds like they're not very
I
stickler.
knew I should have,
on-
I knew I should have bothered you with a text, but I didn't feel it was necessary, so appreciate that.
Filled many phone calls every day asking if they qualify.
Yeah, I mean, it's $30 a pop if I go to Wichita or have them send them to Wichita to do it, so.
I believe Augusta raised theirs to 50 because they don't have a residency requirement and they were getting inundated with fingerprint services, so they did raise their cost.
Becky, are you happy with this system as far, or is there something?
This system has been wonderful to work with. Their support technology, anytime we have an issue, they are right. They log right in, they get anything fixed. It's a 24-hour service and you talk to an actual individual. It doesn't matter if it's 2:00 in the morning. I've
Perfect,
been very happy with them.
great.
I do have one question, Mr. Mayor. Just like what I asked Lance, do we not price any other systems out, or this is just what we like and we're gonna go for it?
So there are not very many systems that meet the FBI and KBI protocols in order to electronically submit fingerprints. This is one of the two in the state of Kansas. In our area, this is the only service provider, the DataWorks Plus, that services the majority of Kansas. Up closer to Missouri, there is another provider. I don't know much about them, but I know we've had them, the service, and we've been very happy with them.
Who does Wichita use? Do they use this or they don't? I mean,
Wichita, they use DataWorks Plus
they use,
also.
okay. I'm just curious if we could do like a metro area contract and, if it's something everybody uses, we could Derby, Sedgwick County, just do one big metro.
I know we don't
contract.
get a discount for having the second one here at court, so.
And that was my next question. Donna, didn't we just buy one of these for the, or we're buying one for this court? Yeah, I remember we talked about that. So, okay, thanks.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor. I move to approve and authorize the communications director to purchase the technology to refresh the DataWorks Plus live scan equipment for the Andover Police Department in the amount of $13,880 and annual support and maintenance starting in November of 2023 for the amount of $1,875.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Tim.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
It's, sorry, just a different question. Do flock cameras fall under Becky or normal police stuff? Oh, okay.
Normal police.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you,
That's
Becky.
it.
Thank you.
All right, member items. We'll start with Tim. You got anything, brother?
I do actually. If y'all haven't, if some of y'all didn't make it, but we had the groundbreaking for the wonderful station number 2. Troy has his hard hat. It doesn't have his name on it. He's not cool, but the rest of us got hard hats with our names on them. But it was a good time. Troy and I actually just got back from a Kansas League of Municipalities. I want to congratulate Council Member Troy Tabor. He got nominated and voted in by the duly registered voters of the Kansas League of Municipalities. Your Mr. Councilman Troy Tabor is now Vice President of the Kansas Municipalities League. So he is the first Andover governing body member to be on anything with the league when it comes to vice president. He is going to be the head man in charge next year. They do a succession plan, so he will be in charge next year. It's an honor to sit next to you, brother. So
It's really an honor just to be a part of this community, and I've been here for a lot of years. I liked it a few times, and I just really appreciate what the city does, and allowing me to help them in this way, and I'll do my best for everybody.
Thank you. Congrats.
yeah, it's a good thing. And if you guys ever want to do a conference, they're fantastic to go to. I am having Jenny set up with Carrie at Butler Emergency Management, the whatever level. What level is that, Chief? Do you know, either one of you guys? The L402 or 403 or
They changed them, so I don't know.
yeah, I can't remember what it is. I talked to Mark what's his name, Tillis or whatever his name is, and we're going to bring it here. It's a instant management for elected officials.
402, I think is. the
402. I
number.
think it's 402 or 403. I can't remember.
So like CERT for council members?
More, yeah, it's more FEMA than anything else. And you were brought up, Chief Buchanan, by the by Mark Tillis. I don't know if y'all know him or not, but he was very pleased with the turnout for the public information officer here, and he was excited that it was here and the turnout was good, and he bragged about you, during the whole class. So I appreciate you mentioning that for Megan and all the other folks that came. So instant management is a very crucial thing for these guys, but it's also very crucial for staff and elected officials, so we know what to do and how to do it. So I really would like to bring that here and have us take those classes. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Tim.
Well, of course.
All right. So I just want to, and there'll be more coming out, and obviously I'm going to put it in the mayor's message, but we've had several house fires recently, and so I just want to let people know that there's things coming out in the mayor message about it, but unplug stuff sitting on your deck, for heaven's sakes, whether it's reliable or not, unplug it. Sleep with your bedroom door closed. Take care of yourselves, because by the time our firemen are the best, but sometimes by the time they find out, the damage is done, and we lost a citizen this week, and quite frankly, it breaks my heart. So we've got a young man without a pops, a young daughter without a pops, and a lady without a husband, and it's the only husband she's ever known. So don't take it for granted. And I was putting fire alarms in my house today, updated, because it's had an effect on me, and it's goes unnoticed by a lot of people in town, that we just don't realize what the alarms are. And the alarms are, somebody might be standing on top of their house, and one of our one of our police officers saw to it that these folks got off the roof of their home, and before it was too late. And I don't want it to happen to anybody else. So it's something I'm going to do all I can to make more awareness, and I'll need both of you chiefs to help me in getting this done, and not just a one-time deal. We need to do what we can to make sure that our citizens, including myself, because my alarms were no batteries in them, or in the closet, or stupid stuff like that. So it just takes one time, and your whole world's changed forever, So I'll shut up now. But take care of yourselves, and because I'd just soon not get calls from Buck and Chief in the middle of the night about anything, especially if my citizens losing their life. That's all I have to say about that.
Mr. Mayor, thanks for acknowledging that. And you say you're putting up the smoke alarms. I didn't realize smoke alarms expire. So just another thing, public, information, whatever, that they do expire, and we didn't know it until my wife wanted to be certified in daycare, and the fire department had to come out and do an inspection, and they were expired. I was like, what? So yes, don't take it for granted, and keep yourself safe. And I appreciate the blue and the red line, what you guys do for us on a daily basis. Really appreciate that. And good news that we broke ground today on the new fire department too. So
there you go.
Shining star on this week, if you will, and do what we can. So thank you again to all the staff and what you guys do for the city.
And one more thing, I appreciate the work you two do together. For you two to be working together to make it, we're all in this together, right? And it goes unnoticed, but it doesn't go unnoticed by me. All right. you two work together well, and it's important for our city that our highest officials work together, especially when it comes to first responders. So thank you. Mike, you have anything you'd like to share, brother?
Yes, this past week, Troy and I and Jenny and staff, a couple of staff, went to the Economic Outlook Conference at Century 2. And it wasn't as bad as I think most people were expecting the outlook for 2023 to be. I think we picked up a couple extra books if anyone is interested in reviewing it. And I think there's even some links online that we could also, share as well of how the economy is not doomsday for 2023, but it's a positive outlook.
It's not, correct me, Mike, it's not perfect, but it's not as bad as the rest of the country might suffer, correct?
Correct. And Kansas is more ahead than other parts of the country. And so it was, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not as bad as people are expecting 23 to be.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Anyone else? Can we get a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Oh, appreciate it. I forgot to mention the Wichita already announced it before we